That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You know, people have always wondered how this happens. It happens just like this. Oh, look out now. It's the Bourbon and Banter Podcast, the biggest and most honest podcast in all of bourbon. That's right, friends and neighbors. We got everything you need to drink curious right here. So sit back, grab a pour, check your feelings at the door, because we're here to lay it down for you as only Bourbon and Banter can. Fall is here, and that means we're gearing up for some great things. There's a summit coming up, more limited releases than there really should be, and a plethora of baked goods whose flavors pair oh so well with America's native spirit. So grab an apple fritter, a bottle of your favorite bourbon, and throw that pumpkin spice latte out the back window. Here we go.
2 words strike the fear into your heart, isn't it? Just 2 words.
Two words?
Pumpkin spice.
No, in the wrong context.
What's the right context?
The right context is in baked goods.
Okay.
And baked goods.
So you're saying baked goods.
Baked goods.
Not coffee.
Not coffee. I don't want it in the coffee.
You heard it here first,
baked
second,
goods.
and third.
That's right. And I don't want to, don't get out there and start saying, well, pumpkin spice actually refers to the spice. Just shut up. I want pumpkin spice in baked goods. I don't need it in deodorant. I don't need it in fucking bacon. They got pumpkin spice bacon now on the grocer's shelf.
Who the fuck is putting that out?
Why in the fresh hell are people putting pumpkin spices in bacon?
The vegans. They're infiltrating.
To try to get us to stop eating it.
That's right.
It ain't going to
Genius.
work.
That's
It ain't
genius.
going to work. Because you know something? If that was all that was available,
You'd
we
still
would
eat
buy it and soak it to get all that shit out of it, and then we would cook the bacon and eat it hand over hand over hand
I
over
would
hand.
soak the pumpkin spice bacon in bourbon, leach out the pumpkin spice, eat the bacon, and then rebottle the liquid and sell it to those young millennials who are afraid to drink real whiskey.
That's all. That's every young millennial anymore.
See? Money maker.
Nobody's
Money
buying.
maker.
People, the youngins aren't
Money
buying the whiskey.
maker.
They're too busy spending $25 every 2 days at whatever coffee house. $8 for you're paying more for one of these frou-frou coffee drinks than you are for a pour of whiskey. What the hell is going on?
Raises. We should probably move on. You know.
Another thing I'd like to talk about here. No, you go right ahead. See, folks, we're doing this live and in person with each other for the first time in a long time, and we're doing it on video.
Honestly, we've never recorded.
We've
in
recorded
person.
one time in person live.
What was that?
That was at your house in your studio. We were sitting across from each other. I was in a leather chair.
I didn't think we
laid
used
back.
that.
We
actually
did.
used it.
We did
Oh.
use it. Yes.
Okay.
We wound up using it one time. And then we did, when we did our story time with Dan Gardner, that was
That's
live.
True. Yes, that was live.
That was live.
And laid back.
And laid back and very much so, yeah.
Well, this was different because obviously we're together, very close proximity. And as Bob said, we are recording this on video. Now, once again, we don't know if this video is going to make it to the light of day, but we're recording it. We'll see what happens. I'm still of the firm opinion that we have faces made for radio.
Yes, we do have faces. I will second that. People told me that for years. That's why I worked in radio for years.
That's right. But if people say they want to see us, we're going to let us see us.
And we had the ultra wide lens, and getting this crap off my back here.
Well, I spent the past weekend at my 30th college reunion, and my best friend from college, whose name is Lou, works for NASA. And he actually manages all the programs for the James Webb Telescope.
Yeah.
And he said that if we slip him some bourbon, he'll get us some time, and he'll point that fucker back down here so they can get some close-up footage of it.
Well, there you go. That's how far we're willing to go for our loyal listeners of the Bourbon and Banter podcast.
Well, Bob, I think we got to kick things off here to keep this thing rolling with just a real quick recap of the most badass month of the year, Bourbon Heritage Month.
We did have ourselves one hell of a dandy time, didn't we? Man,
I am still liver recovery, enzymes, biotics, pro and pre and afterbiotics are all in my my self-care kit.
That
I think
works.
I should say that. And hydrating vigorously still to this date. But it was a fantastic month, and a big shout out to everyone in the bourbon community near and far for downloading our 30 Days of Bourbon calendar, taking up the challenge, and really delivering and showing up and showing us how much great, fantastic bourbon there is to do it. And when I look back many, many years ago when this first started, people were like, I don't know if I can find 30 different bourbons. And now people are barely scratching the surface of their own personal collections.
Yeah, yeah. But we're making them open those bottles.
That's right, because they are meant to be drank. And so I want to thank everybody. We have just about got everyone to respond to their winning notifications. Once again, you sign up for a contest, people. I don't know why you don't follow instructions and put our email in your approved sender list, because we have had to send multiple emails out to give away some of these prizes. But we've identified everyone now, and prizes will be going out between now and next week, and we'll move on. And it raises a question. We've had a lot of people reach out, Bob, who wanted to know if we would do a 30 or 31 days of rye. And so I may or may not have the other night registered a couple domains, and we were thinking that maybe we should do this in January as sort of our way of saying, if you want to do dry January, that's okay.
But we're going to do rye January.
We're going to do rye January.
There you go. There you go.
So if you would like to see rye January become a thing, we'll start small this year. We'll put a calendar together. Drop me a note, pops@bourbonbanter.com, or in the comments wherever you're listening to this podcast. Let us know if you'd be down for that, if you think you got enough rye to make that happen. And if so, we'll make it happen as well, because we are here to deliver.
You got those other websites registered too, though, right? The ones that...
Yeah, we're not talking... No, yeah.
That's not... We're not...
The ones your wives asked me to
No.
Oh,
The other one.
I got the other
Okay,
one.
all
Yeah,
right.
the other one's good. Yeah, we're good. Absolutely.
Hey, no, I'll cut that part out.
All right, edit that out, really.
Yeah, edit that out.
Apologies to your wife. But that's it. Thanks for participating, and we'll do it again next year.
Yeah, we're only 11 months away, folks. 11 months. Countdown now. Start preparing.
That's right. God bless. Well, just because we can't let our liver recover too much, because then it would get back to like a baseline, and then we'd have to relearn this whole drinking thing. We are getting ready to kick into our 2025 Bourbon and Banter Summit, which is coming up here in just a week. In fact, this podcast, well, we're recording it about a week away. This podcast is going to live just in time for people to listen to it as they make their way down to Louisville.
That's right. We're going to be we'll be there. A week from now, we will be down there, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to tell you exactly where, because there are certain municipalities that have forbid us from coming back through. It's a whole overeating of sausage biscuits and blowing out a bathroom at a local gas station. But Brent, we're not going to tell them where it happened.
That's right.
But we are going to be down there doing some fun things, a lot of fun things,
Yeah.
a lot of community, a lot of sharing, a lot of fellowshipping.
We've got 2 barrel picks. We're going to do a 1792 barrel pick. We're going to do a Green River barrel-proof barrel pick as well. We're going to hang out with our friends at Pursuit Spirits. We're going to get a behind-the-scenes tour of the Whiskey House. Same at Potter Jane Distillery. They're just getting stuff going and have a white dog, but they're going to take us through their whole tasting and their profile of what they're doing, and going to have a great time hanging with them. We then have a big barbecue with Mercenary Barbecue, one of the highlights of the year, followed by one of 2 epic bottle shares for that weekend. I'm sorry?
Mercenary Barbecue and King David hot dogs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and we're going to have the hot dog challenge, right? You're King David versus Vienna.
Oh, are somebody going to actually go out and buy a Vienna hot dog?
You and Dennis are going to go hot dog to hot dog.
You've been waiting all day to say that, haven't you? You've been waiting all day to say that. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, now, if you are not aware, I know it's a small footprint, but the best hot dog you have ever had is the King David hot dog out of Indianapolis. Now, someone challenged and said, no, it's not better than Vienna. I said, have you had a King David hot dog? They said, well, no. But I said, I am a hot dog connoisseur. I have had both. Yes, I am. I'm not as much of a hot dog connoisseur as I was 6 months ago, perhaps, because I had a couple pounds of hot dogs leave out this way. A few more left out the back.
We refer to that as the incident.
Well, I'm sorry. What are you going to say? But if you know, King David dogs, that's where it's at. And we're going to have some down there at the summit, as only Bourbon and Banter can do.
That's right. And then day 2, after we somewhat recover from all that, we're going to hit the road once again up to Lexington.
That's the one on the other side of.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We're going to hit Dark Arts. Going to do some tasting and barrel thieving there. have some lunch. Then we're going to head over to
Hey, don't tell me we're not going to steal the barrel.
our.
Oh, you mean okay, the big thing that you.
Then we're going to go to RD1 and do a similar thing there. I hope we got room in the bus for all this. And then we're going to head over to Glens Creek for a tasting and touring of the Old Crow Distillery grounds.
Old Crow Distillery.
Bring your boots, bring your flashlight, a great time. Then we'll head back to Summit HQ for some dinner, bottle share number 2.
That's right.
And then on Sunday, whenever you can crawl out of your bed, and we'll make our way home. So it is a jam-packed weekend, and we are so looking forward to it. And this is the type of stuff we like delivering for our community members.
That's right.
We started the summit 3 years ago. It gets bigger and better every year. And if you join in our community, obviously if you become a drinking class member, you have first access to get tickets. But sometimes we hold a few back for our regular members as well. And we definitely like to see you on a future summit. So go to bourbonbanter.com/community sign up. Check out all the other perks you get as well, including our monthly virtual tastings, which have been a big hit. We have one coming up in a day or two with Jay Henry out of Wisconsin. And then November, we're going to be working with 10th Mountain Whiskey and Spirit Company. And then December, we're going to have a holiday party where we're going to put some sensory test in where people are going to get kits, and we're going to have really see how good you are at drinking whiskey. Tasting, can you guess the proof? Can you guess a little triangle testing, which is different? And then for the grand prize, can you actually pick out what the whiskey is? So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And for the holiday party, Banta has been watching.
That's right.
And he may have some very special things to deliver at the holiday party.
We're not recording that part of the show.
No, you got to be a member to find that one out.
That's right. That's right. So once again, if you want to be part of it all, sign up. We'd love to have you. And we've already started in 2026 planning, and it's going to be even bigger and better while Bob and I continue to get smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
All
Good
right.
job, man, on that, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Well, Bob, I think it's time to, actually, getting hot in here again.
Really? You feel like you need to wash up?
I think we need to wash up.
Need to wash up. It's
I need
time.
some water.
It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the whiskey hot wash.
Remind the folks again, what is a whiskey hot wash?
So a whiskey hot wash, the military, after a mission, down and dirty, what went right, what went wrong, what needs to be reshaped, who's getting fired, who what. They just do a real down and dirty right after everything's done. And so we have taken that idea and put it into the whiskey world. So we're just taking a look at what's happening, some current stories, what's going on in the world, real quick, down and dirty, bourbon and banter, letting it go as only we can.
Well, this is going to be hot. I don't think it's going to be short because I want to just focus purely on a Kentucky Bourbon Festival recap. It's been about a month and a half now since we were down there, and I want to share with the fine folks who may have never been down to the Kentucky Bourbon Festival what it's all about, why they should consider going, and things they should look out for and planning for next year. You down with that?
I'm down with that. I want to hear all about it. He was everywhere. Everywhere.
I was a busy boy, that is for sure. I was lucky enough that I was asked to not only to moderate some of the Bourbon 30 panels, but also to lead some of the premium sessions, especially the vintage whiskey tasting, which was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
Yeah, drinking a bunch of really cool stuff. But I want to start off with Patrick Foe and Aaron Petrie in our group put together a great recap article that's on the website. You can check it out. But I want to call out some of their top highlights of things that they noticed there that I think is a good way to recapsulate this. So typically every year there's something that really breaks through as what was the trend, what was the most notable thing. And this year, one of the big things going on was that a lot of brands came with their own version of buff turkey. This is the distillate that was sold through the contractor wholesale market that was purportedly distilled by Buffalo Trace for wild turkey. It uses the wild turkey mash bill, but I believe it used a yeast strain from Buffalo Trace, and then obviously it was aged back at wild turkey. And for some reason, wild turkey didn't think it met their standards, and they got rid of it, and everybody clamored to get this. And these were old bottles, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old bottles. So everybody had a version, including Dark Arts, which is one that I reviewed prior to KBF, was fantastic, but came at a steep price, $300 a bottle. Some were selling even higher than that. But that was everywhere. That's what people were clamoring about. And one of the bad behaviors, or I see it as bad, or poor form, is people were buying those Dark Art bottles and they weren't even moving 20 feet from the booth of the producer, and they were posting them online, selling them in secondary market.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they
Mm-hmm.
started selling for about $800 within 20, 30 minutes of them being available. And then as more and more people bought them, the price started dropping down to like $600, $500 because the market was getting saturated that quickly.
You know, I want to encourage the folks at the KBF to call me next year and station me outside the location where these initial sales are happening. I will be happy with a complete contract of no fault on my part to make sure that doesn't happen again.
You'll be the enforcer.
I've got just the team for that.
All right. Well, we'll put in a good word with the kind Mr. Coombs and see what he can make happen next year. Along with Buff Turkey Fever, we had older and bolder, if you will, age statements out there. Knob Creek delivered this year with a 21-year expression, which is a huge hit. Hartfield and Company poured not one but two different 18-year-old releases. And Preservation Distillery, well, they showed up with a 18, 17, and 11-year-old pours.
So let me ask a question. How overly oaky was this stuff that was 15 years and north?
So the Buff Turkey stuff I found very easy to drinking. They weren't over oaked at all. The Knob Creek is what you would expect. If you've had any of the escalating age statements from Knob Creek, they start getting a little more oaky, a little bit more dusty oak type. That's the one saving grace, I think, is it gets to be that dry oak, which kind of pulls back on a little bit, but it's a little too oaky for my palate in terms of me paying for it. I was able to try a pour of it from a friend in our group, and that makes it infinitely more enjoyable. But from my perspective, it's too much for my palate. The Preservation Distillery, I think I had the 17-year-old. I didn't have the 18-year-old, but I think it was the 18-year-old that was going for upwards of $1,000 a bottle.
That was initial price or secondary?
No, that's initial price.
Y'all got too much money out there.
No, the pricing for these things are crazy. I mean, Elijah Craig 18 isn't that much, right?
It's what, $250, $300?
Something like that. And 6-7 years ago, before it was removed from the market, it was like 85, right?
Yeah.
So once again, the whiskey didn't change. In fact, if anything, it's not as good, but it's got more expensive. So once again, if you really want it, that's great. But if you want those hard to get things and you don't mind the price, KBF's a great place to get that. There were some really cool debuts at the festival this year as well. Probably my favorite was Craig Bean at Jackson Purchase debuted a 4-year-old bourbon that they made, which for 4 years was absolutely fantastic, and I can't recommend it enough. If you see a bottle of it, definitely grab it. Now, I think the bottle I had was picked for the festival, so quality may change a little bit here and there, but they're off to a fantastic start and definitely one to keep your eye on. One that a lot of people were fawning all over was Silk Velvet. And this is the Hargis family. They debuted it, and it was distilled by Jacob Call. Now, Jacob is well known for his work at Green River before he left. It's a 6-year-old expression, and it became one of the most talked about pours. Now, I tried it, and it was good, but I didn't fawn over it like everybody else did.
I'm envisioning a single barrel at some point that we can simply title, "What is that velvet?"
Do it again.
Again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then there was Potter Jane. Potter Jane was the most interesting experience at KBF. You know why?
Why is that?
Because they don't have any aged whiskey to offer you. We're going to be visiting that distillery next week, part of the summit, but they brought their white dog so people could get an idea of where they were going. They were very open and conversant about everything that's going on, and really making friends is what they did. But what was really cool is they kind of shirked the KBF laws a little bit, and if you knew, you could ask. They were giving out little mini pony beers of Miller High Life and Light, along with little pony koozies, like short koozies.
I'm telling you, it doesn't take a lot, folks, but something like that, that insider track, and folks respect them already because they know the history of the folks that are putting into that label. So, you want to know what they're doing, but that a pony koozie, that's. I'm guessing that one for cutest thing at the KBF.
Well, you know what? When you're spending all day, and it wasn't overly hot, but it's hot, you're thirsty, and you're drinking bourbon. If someone says, you want this beer, and it's light, very, easy drinking beer, you're like, yes, I do. I'd like to, thank you.
Well, It's the champagne of beers.
That it is. And of course, when I first was given it, I didn't look carefully at the koozie. I was talking to Jane, and she's like, "Be quiet, you know, they're kind of busting her chops for having these." And I'm like, "Well, I won't tell anybody who I got it from." And she turned the thing around, and got Potter Jane in the koozie, and I was like, "Whoops."
Turn inside out. Those things flip right inside out.
I may have been drinking all morning. I don't know. But anyway, so that was fun. Contract distillers had an interesting twist this year. They put their clients in the spotlight because you cannot have a booth at KBF if you don't have a DSP number.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of these brands who contract distill or buy from other places couldn't be there normally. So places like Whiskey House and Lofted Spirits, which is the contract distilling arm outside of Green River, have basically put together booths where they have their brands represented that they create. So Whiskey House, like Proof and Wood and Redwood Empire, and Lofted Spirits at 15 Stars, your favorite Blue Run, and your other favorite Forbidden Whiskey was there as well. But
Yeah.
we weren't allowed to touch that one for various reasons because it's forbidden.
It's forbidden.
It's forbidden, especially for Bourbon and Banter. Then cocktails, played a much bigger role. So Aaron and Patrick actually spent a whole day going around KBF trying all the different cocktails, and apparently the Gaulins have been thrown down, and then people are really up in their game with their frozen cocktails are a big hit there. Once again, everybody needing a little bit of a break from drinking just straight bourbon. But
not everybody.
Not everybody. I didn't get any, that's for sure. But the crowd was huge. 7,000 people, ticketed people at this place. So same as last year, it sells out very quickly. But I'll tell you what, last year, the grounds felt super claustrophobic because of the lines wrapped around some of these places. People trying to get allocated bottles, waiting in lines for hours. They readjusted some things this year and made those lines a little less of an issue, but they were still massive. And actually, you could see when they would VIPs get in an hour early, and those people would queue up like at Heaven Hill and Maker's Mark to try to get access. And then an hour later, when the general admission would open up, you would literally see people sprinting, and they would come around the end of a thing only to find that the line's right there and screech and stop and start cursing. So these lines for these allocated bottles are a real problem, and it's something that KBF, a lot of us have given them very constructive feedback about. How do you address that? How do you make it less of an issue? Because there were people who bought VIP tickets, which are super expensive, and they slept outside the campground, outside the festival ground, so they could be the first one in. I mean, that's taking it to a whole new level.
I tell you, man, well, 7,000 people, I'm glad it's just a lot of diversity, a lot of people coming in there from all over.
Absolutely.
Because usually you have someplace in Kentucky with 7,000 people, there's only like 2 families. But it was great to see that.
That's all the beams. I mean, that's the beams.
The Johnson family reunion had 7,000 people in it. But it's nice to see that. But yeah, you got to figure that out. You can't be spending that kind of money and then having to sleep outside to wait to get first. And
of course, the downside was a lot of those people, just like with the Buff Turkey, were walking 20 feet to where the lockers were, taking photos, posting these things online. Some people would get back in line and try to get a second bottle, hoping they wouldn't be reminded. So there needs to be some sort of process done to not only alleviate the line, but my whole thing is, people waste time in these lines to only find out that they're not far enough in the line. So some sort of you remember how Southwest Airline used to hand out physical boarding passes for your A, B, C positions, right? It should be like people get in line, someone should go back and give them a bottle pass. And when they get the last bottle pass handed out, they should tell everyone else, all right, there's none left. And then those people can go stand in a different line or get on with the drinking.
Or open the bottle.
Right? Something like that. So we'll see. I've heard rumors that they are looking at ways to address this for next year. So we'll stay tuned and see if that changes. Now, overall, the festival is fantastic. I had a great time this year. But I will tell you this. If you're going to the festival purely to drink, sample a lot of things, this is not the festival to go to. No. You can do that, but you won't have a lot because the lines are long. All the people working at the booths, the master distillers, the blenders, their teams are very, very open to having conversations. They will spend so much time with you, which means other people are waiting in line longer than normal. So if all you want is a drink, it's not the most efficient spend of your money or your time. But if you're looking to engage with people, have conversations, have camaraderie, meet some of your heroes in the distilling industry, it's a fantastic place to be. Probably no better, quite frankly, because it's a great example of how the industry has come together to promote themselves specific to Kentucky, right? It's a Kentucky thing, but obviously it raises, all levels of whiskey and bourbon production in this country. So we need to work around that sort of thing and get more people involved and hopefully make it a little bit more accessible as well. And once again, you've got to plan in advance. If you want to stay anywhere in Bardstown, you're already too late if you haven't booked a room.
Yeah.
You're not going to get into Bardstown. You have to go somewhere else. And as a pro tip here, you'll get an Uber into Bardstown, but you will not get an Uber out of Bardstown.
No, it'd be a lot of steps that week.
Right. So I think every bourbon lover should attend at least once. And if you don't have a lot of money and you don't have a lot of patience, Sunday is the only day they sell a single day ticket for. And it's the best day to go if all you want to do is drink, because all the allocated stuff is gone, so you don't have those long lines. Some people get a little sloppy because they come there just for that purpose. But if you want to just come down for a couple hours on Sunday, I think the ticket's only like $150. And you get to experience pretty much everything but the long lines for allocated bourbons, and you'll still have a great time. And of course, if you're going to go next year, let us know. We're going to have a place down there. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff and love to get together, because making friends, that's what it's all about.
There you go. There you go.
All right. So that was the hot wash on that, a little bit longer, but I think it's important for people to understand what it is. And once again, if you're on the fence, just drop me a note, pops@bourbonbanter.com. Happy to answer any questions or introduce you to someone else on the team that might have a better answer for you.
All right.
All right.
You smell that?
Oh, man. Ew.
There's a little barbecue sauce here, but
Isn't that bourbon?
no, it smells like our S.N.I.F.F team's got something for us. We're headed to the S.N.I.F.F team news, ladies and gentlemen. The S.N.I.F.F team has got it.
All right.
Now, for those of you who weren't with us or haven't been aware, we've had an investigative team for years who have broken all kinds of things, and the number one team in breaking Taylor Swift-related whiskey news. And we have rebranded that team as our S.N.I.F.F team, Slosh Nomads Investigating Fermented Facts. So they're out, they're doing the job, they are undercover, bringing us all the latest and greatest whiskey news and rumors and what might be happening. And they really went overboard.
They went overboard. And I have to tell you, Bob, real quick, I was at the media tent, KBF, this year, and in walked Peggy No Stevens. Now, despite
we can cheers to Peggy. Yes.
Here's the chip. Yeah.
Here's
definitely.
to Peggy.
She is a cool lady, and despite all my years covering the industry, I never met her. So I went up and introduced myself. Hi, Peggy. My name's Pops. I'm with Bourbon and Banter. We haven't met before. I wanted to meet you. She goes, "Oh, Pops and Bourbon and Banter. I know all about you. I sure do." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'm thinking, she's heard about it from Aaron, right? Because Aaron runs in a lot of the circles with bourbon women and whatnot. And I said, "Oh, from Aaron." And she goes, "Oh, no. I know you because of Taylor Swift." And I'm like, holy shit. And she starts laughing. There's her friends there. And her friend's like, What are you talking about, Peggy? So we had to tell her about our S.N.I.F.F report, or our Fox report from a year ago.
Forensic Undercover Knowledge Seekers. That's right.
It was our last episode before we went on hiatus about Taylor Swift working with women distillers and blenders in the industry to put out a series of single barrels.
Yes.
Which was huge news and went everywhere. And apparently, when we put that out, because we talked about how Peggy was working on a barrel with her, she started getting phone calls. Her phone lit up like crazy, and people are like, "Oh my God, this is so exciting. This is great." She's like, "What are you talking about?" And so they send her the story. She's like, "Oh my God," and everything's going on. And I was like, "I'm so sorry." She's like, "No, it was great. I've never been that popular in my life." She absolutely loved it. And then I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'm all right." And then she goes, however, and I'm like, whoa. And she goes, "I did have one of my advertisers call me and said, 'Peggy, we hate to do this, but we're going to have to cancel our advertising because you're developing a product and we can't have that. It's competitive and we can't do that.'" And I was like, "Oh my God, Peggy, I'm so sorry." And she's, "Oh no, it's okay, honey. Don't worry about it.
We're just trying to have a little fun, folks."
She goes, "I had to explain to him about this story and make them feel okay with it. And then they had a good chuckle and then when we were fine." She goes, "But I have to tell you, Pops, I really hope she'd give me a call. I could help her." So, you never know.
Taylor,
call
Peggy.
Call Peggy.
Call Peggy.
If we can do it, we got you covered. Don't you worry. And thanks for giving us a laugh 18 months later and being such a great sport about it.
She said,
really appreciate it.
They didn't get your humor, see.
A lot of people don't, including the police, the federal government,
Well,
and the South Africans.
The South Africans, yeah, there you go.
South Africans.
Yeah.
Well, I did get a great story from KBF. So this one is actually from me. The S.N.I.F.F. teams did some of the background research,
Yes.
but I did get this directly from the source. I was hanging out at the Ingram Distillery booth with Ingram, and we were talking, and I said, hey, you got anything new going on? We're thinking about coming to visit you. He's like, oh, man, I got something great. And so here's what he told me. He said, so if you're not familiar with the Ingram Distillery, they're known for aging their whiskeys on the gentle sway of the Mississippi River. Ingram Barge Company makes all the barges, and a lot of them that go down the Mississippi. And Hank had this idea years ago about let's age barrels on a barge. And so he worked with his company and made that happen. And but now he's working on what many are calling the boldest project in modern whiskey maturation, which is a pretty big statement. Mm-hmm. So he gave me a few hints, and he said, I really can't tell you two more. He goes, but he said, Lake Superior, ships that have gone down, and talked to the Army Corps of Engineers. So we did some research, and we went in there and we found that the parent company, Ingram Barge Company, has quietly recovered portions of the legendary Great Lakes freighter, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, which sank in 1975 during a storm on Lake Superior. And sources close to the company, definitely not Hank, have confirmed that these salvage sections are going to be restored to serve as the world's first Great Lakes floating rickhouse and a memorial distillery experience. Dubbed the SS Edmund Fitzgerald Barrel House, insiders reference this specifically as barrel number 10 for short, representing the day that the ship went down. So barrel house number 10. So a little insider scoop there.
Okay.
So he reportedly greenlit this. Obviously, a lot of people know that the ship went down. It split in two, and it was like 600 and some feet deep, very down there. But he greenlit the recovery of this after discovering that the ship's captain, Ernest M. McSorley, apparently was a distant relative.
McSorley.
He said, he goes, I grew up hearing stories about the Fitzgerald, but I never knew we shared a blood or taste for rye, because apparently McSorley was into rye.
Okay.
And so in an unexpected yet fortuitous turn of events, divers assisting with this salvage claim discovered an old logbook, a little bit waterlogged, if you will, from McSorley in the captain's chambers, describing some of his favorite things, including a nightcap that he was fond of drinking.
Okay.
Hopefully that didn't lead to what happened to the ship.
I hope. Yeah, no, they can't. It's the statute of limitations is passed.
Okay,
they
good.
can't come after his family.
Well, that's good. And he's dead. So,
exactly.
But he dubbed it the Old 48, and it's a cocktail made with 2 parts bourbon, 2 parts rye, Galliano lemon juice, and wild Great Lakes grapes. Now, you grew up in the Finger Lakes.
I grew up in the
something
Finger
about
Lakes.
These grapes?
Well, so the Finger Lakes they've got a ton of wineries up there. Most of them make horrible wine, but some of they're very good for sweet white wines.
Okay.
Rieslings, those Lake Niagara grapes are fantastic. I never expected the Finger Lakes to look like that. I always thought they'd look like this, but I wasn't, but the grapes up there, if you get them fresh, they're sweeter than any candy. You've got these the cotton candy grapes that leave a bad aftertaste in your mouth and things like that. Mm. These things are so naturally sweet. So when I saw this, I'm like, wow, no wonder he had to have bourbon and rye to combat the sweetness of the grapes. Yeah,
absolutely. They're going to revive the recipe, and as the signature pour at what's being dubbed the Lightfoot Restaurant and Lounge, which is going to be a floating supper club above the reconstructed vessel, paying tribute to Gordon Lightfoot.
Gordon Lightfoot, yeah.
Whose 1976 hit immortalized the tragedy of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. Probably have it on infinite loop, which might get a little annoying over time.
That might get a little annoying after about like the second time.
Right. But once completed, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald Barrel House will host guided tastings, overnight birthing, which is kind of a cool twist.
Birthing?
And what, sleeping.
Geez, I was like, man, how are you going to...
Birthing.
Birth, okay.
Right.
I was like, how are you going to do that? That's not sanitary.
And something that Ingram calls nautical proofing program, where the barrels experience the constant temperature shifts of Lake Superior's famously unforgiving climate and also waves, right? It can get pretty tumultuous up there. And he said, if you thought our river age whiskey was dynamic, wait until you try something aged next to Canada.
Next to Canada.
And Canada, they'll be so close, but they won't take it because they've given up American whiskey. God bless them. Whiskey aged above the Edmund Fitzgerald Barrelhouse is expected to be bottled as Fitzgerald's Reserve, which I think will going to be an interesting trademark lawsuit.
Yes, it will be, yes.
Each bottle is going to be finished with brass accents forged from salvaged hull plating in a quiet nod to the ship's enduring legacy. In addition, bottles will have the ship's final coordinates etched into the glass in an homage to where the legend came to rest on that fateful night in 1975. As a collector's bonus, initial releases will also include a small vial of authentic Lake Superior water.
Do not use that to blend with the whiskey. Don't use that. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen.
Tested, filtered, and according to Ingram, guaranteed not to sink your palate.
Yeah, still, you don't know what's been going on up there. There was
You got to have something for the collectors, though. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there was a guy up there. There are all kinds of rumors and stuff, especially up in that part of the Northeast. My doctor, Dr. Vinny Boombatz, he had a guy. Yeah, he knew a guy up there. Boy, they never found him, but there were parts, popping up everywhere.
Well, the whole crew, you get a taste of the Edmund Fitzgerald if you drink the water.
Yeah.
Anyway, when asked about the risk of aging whiskey on a ship best known for disaster, Ingram apparently smiled and said, "We're not superstitious," he said. "We're just very serious about flavor and good story."
Yeah.
So construction of the Edmund Fitzgerald Barrelhouse is slated for completion in early 2027. So you have to wait. And that's pending Coast Guard approval and quote unquote cooperation from the weather. So a pretty cool thing happening. A little bit of history.
Floating rick house.
From
you can go see
the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
The wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And you'll actually be able to see where the whiskey is stored. It's not on some ocean that no one ever actually sees it out at.
This is true. So truth in advertising, supposedly for this one. Now, we've got a little time before that's going to happen. So between now and then, I will tell you that Ingram Distillery did release this year's 5th annual flagship bourbon, batch number 5. It's actually a micro batch with a proof of 116.5 proof and a blend of only 8 high rye barrels with a mash bill of 36% rye, 60% corn, 4% malted barley. And I had a chance to taste it, and it's absolutely delicious. So if you like that sort of mash bill and that proof suits you, this is going to be a great purchase and one that you're going to enjoy while you wait for construction to get completed. So time to head north.
Well, it's always time to head north. It's colder up north.
You
take me up there anytime.
That's right. And when you get up north, and you know what, it's harder to smell? Bourbon bullshit.
Bourbon bullshit.
All right, folks, it's time for your favorite segment, Bourbon Bullshit. It's our opinionated rant corner. No filters, no spin, just straight up takes on what's grinding our gears in whiskey culture this week. So, with that said, Bob, where do you want to go first? Spin that dial.
Spin the wheel, make a deal.
Make a deal.
All right. Well, you said going up north, you can smell it better. My grandfather always said, if you're educated up north, the further south you go, the smarter you are. I resemble that remark. I had to get that in there, Grandpa Don and his wisdom. Well, we saw something that I just stop with this. So, because there wasn't enough Traveler's whiskey that nobody could sell, now they're doing full proof Traveler's whiskey at 121. I always thought the name was interesting since everybody just wanted to just travel off the shelf and they couldn't get it to.
Or it's calling a foul for all the basketballs traveling.
I don't know.
But they don't call that anymore, though. That's the problem.
No, they never did call it. Hardly.
That's right.
No.
Only when we played basketball in grade school.
But you can't sell it now. It's flooded every shelf and it's on clearance. You still can't sell it. Now you want to give us a full proofer? Okay.
So
what did they buy that they had to relabel and try to get this stuff off as something else? Just make the damn whiskey we want to drink. And
I think there's a lot of Canadian whiskey in that blend.
Yeah. Well,
that they can't send back.
That's pretty good. But for our Canadian friends, all 3 of you that listen to this, we're sorry. Sorry, Pops is going in on Canada. It's
all right. They'll be polite about it.
They will be.
That's right.
It's the French connection that bothers you. We don't. Neither one of us have much, French history or I don't know any French words except I surrender.
Exactly right. That's right. I gave up learning the language. Just like the country. Anyway, Traveler Full Proof coming soon at 121 proof because, no flavor needs more no flavor.
Now we're just doing this in person and on video. Now we're just cracking each other up, and we're coming off. It's who knows.
I can tell you this. I just remember when I was last at Buffalo Trace, and they were serving it to people as samples. They were also giving you a pour of Kentucky ale. So my thing is, if you buy a full proof, do they give you like a case
of Kentucky ale?
Right, you're right. So it's like, hey, here's something to go with your case of regret. Anyway, if you like Traveler, that's good on you.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Great.
All right, but we're going to tell you right now, that's some bullshit. It is. All right, so the next one is on me. The Buddha of Bourbon, Jimmy Russell. We know him. We love him. We are huge Wild Turkey fans, right?
And huge Jimmy Russell fans.
Jimmy fan.
The quotes alone from Jimmy Russell.
Absolutely. And if you have spent any time with him, you've probably heard someone go, Jimmy, why does the old Wild Turkey taste different? And he'll say, well, it shouldn't. It's the same whiskey. Nothing's changed. Now, you could argue the point, but not with Jimmy, right? He'll tell you. Because there ain't nothing wrong with it. We don't change a damn thing. That's what he always says, right? And so he stands behind that. And I've always kind of appreciated his doggedness on that topic. We know that when they rebuilt the distillery, the fermenters no longer had access to the outdoors, which changes things. The stills are different. Everything changes somewhat of the flavor. But he'll tell you,
product is bottled at a younger age.
Right. So they'll tell you, the stuff from the 80s should taste like the stuff today. All right. So great. In fact, they went even as far as to launch a campaign recently. You've seen it, called Don't Change a Damn Thing. And it features Jimmy, right? Younger version of Jimmy, older version. And, if there's nothing wrong with Don't Change a Damn Thing. And they're hammering that point in. And once again, stand alone. I appreciate that, right? You got to stick to your guns and market it in a way that especially because when I do my tastings, I always say, when I introduce something like Russell's Reserve, I'm like, now you're going to be kind of shocked this is made by Wild Turkey, because many of you think that Wild Turkey is only for old men, bikers, and badasses.
Yeah.
I mean, three of my favorite class of people.
Well, it's because everybody, when they were 16 or 18 or, some of us 11, they had a nip of Wild Turkey 101 and they threw up or they got hammered, and that's all they think. Right. I did the same thing with Branford Marsalis and his band. Mm-hmm. And I gave Branford that. They taste like, this is Wild Turkey? It's like, yeah, because most people drank it. And then he tells me he was in Europe someplace. He and a friend, there was a bottle of Wild Turkey 8-year and they drank the whole bottle.
Yep. Same.
After that, see, people have those strong, things from when they were young.
I hope you're in his will, because you really saved him by introducing him to bourbon.
Yeah, I ain't in his will. The only way I'm in his will is will you please leave me the hell alone and get away from me?
But maybe give you a trumpet. I know.
Wrong Marsalis, man.
I know, but that's why it's funny.
That's why it's funny. Yes. Okay. Sorry, Branford.
He's not going to give you something nice. He's going to give you a trumpet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So once again, the campaign's cool. It's everything. But then Eagle Eye Spotters, the TTB label database, noticed that there is a product potentially coming out from Wild Turkey called Austin Nichols Archives. And this is a product being created by Bruce Russell, right? Jimmy's grandson. And the language on the label reads this, and I'm going to kind of zoom in here. There's something about old school Wild Turkey from the past. It hits differently. It's raw, it's loud, it's honest. When I talk to the people I look up to in this industry, the master distillers, the Bourbon Hall of Famers, the folks whose names are on the bottles, they all say the same thing. There's just something special about those whiskeys to me. It's the gold standard. So obviously this release is going to replicate and harken back to the Wild Turkey of the old days. But according to Jimmy, it's the same thing. Now, I've spent 28 years in advertising, and I know what happens when you let the advertisers take control. You get hot mess, you get conflicting stories. Hell, you wind up with products like Traveler, for God's sakes. So, I love Wild Turkey. I love the base products, but I continue to struggle year after year with the marketing messages, the limited editions, the extreme pricing, and the fact that I can get a single barrel cheaper than I can get a single Rickhouse batch product. So this is just continuing that evolution, and I'm going to call bullshit. I think we need to tidy up the story here, Wild Turkey, and I think we need to make this brand a little bit more accessible. I love everything they make, but it's getting a little out of hand.
I think we need to hit one of these lotteries that is like $1 trillion and just buy the damn label back from Campari. I'm all about the Italians. I'm Italian. But no, folks, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Come on. Stop the bullshit. Remember those TV commercials in the 80s, early 90s? Susan Powder? Stop the insanity. Yeah, stop the bourbon bullshit. Give it to us straight. Quit all this bullshit.
Did she wear like turtlenecks? Because we could get some turtlenecks and dress up like her.
No, I think
we're bald like her.
Well, we could dress up like 4 or 5 of her. You know, we ain't lost that much damn weight.
Okay, stop the insanities. Does that help? Think about it. Think about it.
Yeah. No, I don't need to think about it any more than I already have right now. It's too much anyway. Nobody's thought about her in like 25, 30 years. So.
Well, she's trending in Google now.
Is she? Well, there you go.
There you go. All right, Bob, what's up next? What else is pissing you off?
You know, I stumbled across a clickbait article. This was Food Republic. I said, who are these people saying that? And they're saying that you really need to drink your open bottles of whiskey in 2 to 6 months. Because after that, it's not, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose quality, you're going to lose it. Kiss my ass.
I think you're hitting a polarizing topic here.
What, kissing my ass?
No, that's a foregone conclusion. But 2 to 6 months?
2 to 6 months, you know something? When I've opened a bottle, they're talking about, well, the more oxidation and you lose all these things. Now, for me, I always prefer the second pour. Then I prefer the third pour. Then I prefer the fourth pour.
So you think air is improving it?
My experience is the exact opposite. And we sent this into our community just to see what folks would say. And you know, the hot dog king of Indianapolis came back and said that, you know, the bullshit. They're trying.
The wiener wizard. Carmel, Indiana.
I'm sorry, man. That's it. You're the wiener wizard from now on. We're going to get you a hat with the stars and shit. We're going to get you a wand, the wiener wizard
of Carmel, Indiana.
You know, mercenary barbecue was nice, but the wiener wizard of Carmel, Indiana.
The wizard.
The wonderful wizard of wieners. See, this kind of stuff doesn't come across when we're doing this remotely, folks. Oh, it only happens when we're here.
That's right. And it's just, if we keep doing this, it's just going to get better and better. And
you know,
we're going to have to get stronger chairs.
Now that AI has gotten so insane, we're going to be able to create that song a lot easier than having to go hire the Munchkin kids to sing, you know, that we're off to see the wonderful wizard of wieners.
That's right.
But anyway, the weenie wizard said that, you know, they're just trying to sell decanters. And yeah, that's probably what's happening here. But I'm like, you know, you got to take that high expensive, you got to drink it in 2 months. Some people say 6, but you really should drink it in 2 months. Kiss my ass.
Well, you know, first of all, I can tell you, Bob, we're, you know, if people find our address, we'll get a ton of hate mail, because a lot of people are like, why is it taking you 2 to 6 months to drink a bottle of bourbon? And I think if you think about this on an individual bottle level, especially an everyday bottle, yeah, that's probably not going to last that long for most people. So there's no big issue. So if we're talking now about higher end bottles, things you want to hold on to, you know, I don't think the longer it's open, the better it gets. But I also don't feel that bottles go south very quickly, especially if you keep them out of direct sunlight, keep them in a moderate to cool temperature area, and keep the cap on them, right? I mean, you're going to get some oxidation to be minimum. I've got bottles in my collection, special bottles, that are over 10 years old, and they still taste fantastic, yep. Right? I can tell no difference. But I will tell you that when I do tastings and people ask me this question, you know, first and foremost, store properly, out of direct sunlight, cool, not hot temperatures, keep the bottle upright. It's not wine. You don't want that alcohol sitting in the cork. You do that, most of the time you're going to be fine. If you're really worried about it and you want to take a next step and your bottle level is dropping and you're concerned about it, put it into a smaller bottle, right? Decant it down to smaller bottles. If you have a little bit left, you want to save for when your son turns 21 and it's 10 years away, put it in a little sample bottle. Do something like that. That's going to up the odds that something weird isn't going to happen, because every once in a while, I have come across that if you leave a very small amount, you'll come back and it'll have things floating in it and things of that nature. That can happen, but that's usually when there's like a half ounce left in it. But if you've got this much or whatnot in it, I've never had a problem.
I've never had one either.
Right. But I have a lot of open bottles with sitting stuff because I have so many bottles. But I think the normal person who only keeps 2 or 3 in rotation is probably drinking through them on that pace. In which that case, you have nothing to worry about whatsoever.
Quit trying to scare people with your stupidity.
Right.
Stop it. Knock it off.
Maybe it's for the traveler drinkers, and they're wondering why it doesn't have any taste.
Could be.
It could be. And
maybe they need to go get all this pumpkin spice Chex Mix and bullshit and throw it in there. They'll get some taste.
Or maybe if you take Traveler, dump it into a bucket, spin it above your head 4 times, and what's left, drink it. Maybe then it tastes better.
That sounds like a challenge. That's like the Traveler Challenge. We challenge you out there.
That's right.
Loyal listeners, to
skip the bucket challenge, try the Traveler challenge.
Find a way to impart flavor into Traveler whiskey,
which does not involve anything that's flavored.
That's right. How do you do it?
All right, let us know. Pops at bourbonbanter.com. Best top 3 ideas. Put in the next podcast.
Yes. So get to it, folks.
Well, speaking of Traveler and its parent company, Buffalo Trace, they just announced the antique collection for this year is 100% confirmed now that there will be Colonel E.H. Taylor bottled and bond bourbon. 15 years, 4 months, 100 proof.
The NSI collection? Never going to fucking see it collection? Yeah.
So now we have 3 of the same mash bill with all around 100, 101 proof, all within like 3 years of each other.
I don't care anymore because I'm never going to see it, never going to taste it. I got a buddy who manages to secure some because he's a very loyal customer of a place, and the guy will let him buy some for MSRP.
Okay.
And if he's got a bottle, Matt says, "No, man, hold that for somebody who doesn't have one. I have one. It's okay." He truly spreads the wealth. But that's the only way I know that these damn things ever come out.
Yeah, no, pretty much. I mean,
I don't know anybody who gets them.
Right. We got some samples last year. We got cut off for a long period of time. We got some samples last year.
Why did we get cut off? Why don't they like us? It's not like we're talking.
I think we're speaking our bourbon truth, and they don't like it.
We're gonna have to pay Lloyd now.
No, he and I have an agreement.
Okay, very good.
We have an agreement. Don't worry, we're good on that. All right. Any other bullshit topics? I mean, I think we've exhausted our list for today, which without hitting all the normal things that we
we've talked about some of these things to death, but
doesn't mean we won't talk about.
Doesn't mean we won't talk about them again. But we're coming up on the holiday times, and bullshit is all around the holiday times.
That's right. So maybe
don't buy your relative, friend, coworker, employee a gift set because you think the gift looks cool and you think they might like the whiskey. Just go buy them a bottle of the whiskey they give. They don't want the fucking tchotchke that comes with it. Nobody gives a shit.
Right. And no whiskey stones, because they will be thrown back at you, and
as they should be.
And no one will get prosecuted for such an activity.
That's right.
That's right. Well, we are going to be, like I said, at the summit next week, and we're going to record a very special episode for November, which will be a little different. We're going to have some guest people with us. So if you're tired of Bob and me, we'll have a few other people in there, including the wizard, the weenie wizard.
The weenie wizard.
Not the wiener, the weenie wizard.
The weenie wizard.
Right.
Or wiener wizard. Yeah, or wizard of the wiener.
That's right. He'll be there as well. And if you have anything you want us to address, send in your questions, your comments to pops@bourbonbanter.com. And as always, we'll read all the emails. The ones we don't like, we'll delete promptly, and the rest of them we'll consider responding to. But that's it for our, what I guess is now our 39th episode. And as always, we appreciate you tuning in and giving your attention. And hopefully we haven't scarred any of your cornea or pupil eye tissue and whatnot. But remember, you can always just listen to us and not watch us if you somehow stumbled upon this video. But any all feedback, drop us a line at podcast@bourbonbanter.com and we will give it a check. Bob, it is good to see you physically in person.
Likewise, my friend.
We do that. And I think now we're going to get to some serious drinking, and we're going to bust out some Traveler. Oh, wait. I didn't say that. Not Traveler.
No, we busted it outside already.
I'm going to hit that Jack Daniel's Heritage Barrel.
The Jack Heritage Barrel.
That's right, because that was pretty damn tasty, and I think I need to drink
tasty.
some more. So, folks, on behalf of Bourbon and Banter, thanks again. And remember, folks, if you are going to drink,
drink curious.
Well, what's your preference?
Bourbon, if you got it.
Bourbon from Kentucky.
I should certainly fucking hope so.